Hi class, it's Dr. Cho. So, we're a little bit past the midpoint of the class. I'm sorry I haven't been more in touch. It's just been a brutal semester. You know, when I talk about that student-teacher ratio, well, 280 to 1 is not very conducive to keeping in touch, but that's my problem, not your problem. Anyway, there are a couple of administrative things I want to talk about. There's a handful of you who have a lot of missed assignments. I know with the amnesty period and everything, you can make it up, but please don't leave it for too late. Otherwise, you're not going to have a chance to make it up. There's just going to be too much. And this isn't exactly the hardest class on earth to pass. Also, nobody posted their contact information for where we're supposed to go crash your discussions. So I'm going to give you a break. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But if you would like me to sit in on your conversations and see what you're talking about, then please, under the discussion board, post it. Now, this class, as you can see, has its own logic. And it first starts out with, what is it that we're trying to do? Well, we're trying to execute. And we're trying to execute against something that is unknown. So we have this big, humongous problem. And why is it a big, humongous problem? It's because of uncertainty. So how do we get rid of uncertainty? Make it certain, which means we need more information. And the acquisition of information is learning. And so what this course focuses on are the techniques to help you learn better. And by learning better, you're more productive, meaning you make progress against what you're trying to do, and you're more efficient, meaning how much does it cost me to get that progress? I can spend less. And the class starts out with storytelling. And storytelling accomplishes one of two things. First of all, it's probably the best way to communicate. Every time I think of answers, I start thinking in terms of stories. Stories are memorable. Stories have their own logic. Stories flow. It's not bogged down. By the same token, stories have a logic. If you tell a bad story, there's a very good chance that it doesn't make any sense. And so as an entrepreneur, you're constantly looking tons of details. How does it all come together as a story? And the way to do that is through conceptual thinking. That there are patterns to things, and instead of wrestling with all these myriad details, you can try to figure out what is its true meaning. What is the truth of the situation? And that goes down into what is the crux of the problem. So from there, we want to talk about creativity and then problem solving. And then we get into the groove, where we talk about different techniques. That first of all, there are certain principles you need, certain mechanical techniques, and then how do I deal with the emotional situations that normally come up. And these are the things that most commonly come up when you're traversing uncertainty. Everybody who does uncertainty runs into these problems. Now, what it comes down to is in order to be a good practitioner of this, and this is what this course doesn't do because there's not enough time, and quite frankly, it's a lifetime. And that's, do you actually practice these ideas? Even just taking one, even something as simple as do one more thing. How many of you at the end of the day do one more thing? Well, as it turns out, it always turns out to be like 10% or something like that. Very low. Students don't take it to heart, and they don't realize that that one little thing makes time go by a lot faster. Not only that, but here's one thing you can do, which isn't in any of the lectures, is try not to be ordinary. I had a friend who lived across the hall from me at MIT, Todd Securis. Todd, very smart guy, very sharp. I think he spent a career at IBM. And one time I walk in, and Todd liked me, and I liked Todd. And he just yelled at the top of his voice, "Steve, you're so fucked up!" And then I looked at him and I said, "But Todd, tell me, how do you really feel?" Well, Todd subsequently just said, "Well, I just want to pay you a compliment, because it's a lot better than to be fucked up than it is to be nice." And he started talking on about how the worst thing anybody can say about you is, "Oh, he's nice. Oh, she's nice." And what it really says is that you're so bland and you're so ordinary and you're so uninteresting that I don't want to insult you, so I'm just going to say you're nice, which means you don't move the needle on anybody's register anywhere. And so try to be less ordinary. An example is Professor Griffin recently had a birthday, and then everybody said, just sent her email saying, happy birthday, have a great day, you know, all those kind of cliches. And then she proceeded to say, well, actually, my birthday's not today, it's tomorrow. And what that inspired me to do was to tell a little story. In the little story, I said, since we're talking about tomorrow, here is my advice for you. Forget about tomorrow, it'll be here soon enough. Forget about yesterday, it's done and gone. And forget about the present, I was remiss in getting you one. Now, I could have just, and then I wrote happy birthday. But the point is that I could have taken, zero time and just wrote something ordinary, or I could just take a minute or two and try to think of something interesting. Also, notice what I said. Forget about the present. I was remiss in getting you one. Well, the original joke was I didn't get you one. But I didn't get you one comes across as a little harsh. Whereas I was remiss in getting you one softens it. And this is the writer's discipline. What is the meaning of every word? How often do you actually do this? How often do you practice the groove? And if you practice it, then you could be successful at it. If you don't practice it, then, well, it was a nice intellectual exercise. So I felt kind of bad leaving you on your own, but I left you in capable hands. Pei has taught this class before. He knows it forwards and backwards. But what I suddenly realized is that every week you're watching me on video, so, it's kind of like, what's another video? Maybe they have more than enough of you. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know, and let's wrap up the semester strong. Take care, everyone.